So in the meanwhile, we had covered Sloka number 30 of the second chapter, right? Mataji, if I'm not wrong.
I'm sorry, Prabhuji. I am not remembering. Sorry.
Yeah, just let me quickly check the WhatsApp. I think you had posted on WhatsApp. So
We need to
Okay.
continue from 31.
31, yeah, exactly. Correct. Yeah, I also read the same thing.
I am not remembering. Sorry.
No, that's totally fine. Check the WhatsApp. I think you had posted on WhatsApp. So live. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Again, thank you all for joining this session. I missed out for a couple of weeks, but that's fine. We'll continue from where we left off last week. And before starting, I'll just perform some pranam mantras to invoke auspiciousness. Those who know can repeat after me. Those who don't, just listen very intently, because listening is also very, very purifying. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते वादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखम करोति वाचार्यम परमानंद are you all able to see the screen? If anyone can confirm, please.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So 2.31. So we'll continue in the same fashion that we have been doing for last 2 weeks. We'll read the shloka, we'll read the translation, and we'll see. If the purport is not very long, then we'll go through the purport. Otherwise, we'll read some important parts of the purport. In case anyone has any questions, please stop me then and there, and you can go ahead with your questions. Okay. This is 30. Need to continue from 31. Okay, so who can read? Shall we go alphabetically? Ashwini Mataji. Okay, Ashwini Mataji may not. Will you be able to read? Or if not, you can just remain silent. We will come to know that. Okay, I think she is in the office. So yeah, Ashwarya Mataji, please, if you can just follow what I am reading, will you be able to do that?
Yes, sure, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay.
Seven.
Swadharmam api chavekshya
Swadharma apeksha Swadharma apeksha na
chavekshya swadharmam api chavekshya
Swadharmam api chavicha
na vikampitumarhasi
na vikampitumarhasi
dharmyadhi yuddhach
dharmya dharmyadhi
yuddhashreyo
yuddhashrayo
anyat kshatriyasya na vidyate.
anya kshatriyasya na vidyate.
Okay, read the translation, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitations.
Yes.
Out of
Yeah,
the
just a second. Let me see how long the purport is. Okay, it's fairly big purport. So I'll just tell you which one is. Yes, you can read the first part
Okay, Prabhuji.
from here to here first. Let's read from here to here.
Okay,
And
Prabhuji.
yeah, by the way, before although we are reading from the important portions of the purport, it is
Yes.
expected that all of you should go back home and read the entire purport. Okay, otherwise things may not be very clear. So yes, Mataji, please.
Out of the four orders of social administration, the second order for the matter of good administration is called Kshatriya. Kast means hurt. One who gives protection from harm is called Kshatriyas. Trayate, to give protection. The Kshatriyas are trained for killing in the forest. A Kshatriya would go into the forest and challenge a tiger face to face and fight with the tiger with his sword. When the tiger was killed, it would be offered the royal order of cremation. So that much, Prabhuji. This system.
So yeah, just a second. I'll tell you some more paragraphs.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please read this line.
Okay, Prabhuji. The Kshatriya are specially trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor.
Yes, just a second. And then finally, yeah, you can read the meaning of this above shloka.
Okay, Prabhuji. In the battlefield, a king or Kshatriya, while fighting another king envious of him, is eligible for achieving the heavenly planets after death, as the Brahmanas also attain the heavenly planets by sacrificing animals in the uh, sacrificial fire. Therefore, killing on the battlefield on religious principles and killing animals in the sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence, because everyone is battlefield by the religious principle involved. The animal sacrificed gets a human life immediately without undergoing the gradual evolutionary process from one form to another, and the Kshatriya killed on the battlefield also attain the heavenly planets, as do the Brahmins who attain them by offering sacrifice.
Yes, so very important thing here to note is that the importance of the Kshatriya dharma is given here, right? Krishna is enticing Arjun to fight because he's saying that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. Okay, so a Kshatriya should never give up fighting. Why? Because Kshatriya, the word itself means to protect someone from the harm. Okay, Shat means harm and Trayate means to give protection. So this is the like a basic dharma or basic prescribed duty of a Kshatriya to fight. But to fight on religious principles, not whimsically, just going around killing people. No, that is not the Kshatriya dharma. Okay, only on religious principles, some violence is allowed because sometimes it becomes very necessary, to kill the miscreants. Okay, so that is the reason why Kshatriya is supposed to fight, and this is what Krishna is telling Arjun. And here in this shloka, which Prabhupada is quoting from. As he mentioned, no, I think he's from religious law books. I think he is quoting. So he's saying that a kshatriya who is fighting on the battlefield, and if he loses a life fighting, right, he immediately attains the heavenly planetary system. The gates of the heavens are always open for such a person, and very few kshatriyas get that opportunity to fight and to die on the battlefield. Okay. So similarly, the Brahmins who are actually, offering sacrifices of animals, okay, they are also, they also attain very higher planetary system, and it is also very beneficial for the animal as well. Okay, like in the olden days, what it used to happen that an old animal, generally a horse or maybe some another animal, a goat or something, it was brought and it was offered as sacrifice in the sacrificial fire. Okay? And immediately what happened? The potency of the Brahmanas in those yugas was such that immediately that animal would get a human form of life. Okay, which is very, very rare. Even the demigods actually aspire to get a human form of life. So this was, but these things, they used to happen, in the previous yugas when the Brahmins were that potent. Okay, the potency in their mantras were such that immediately, they could do perform such acts. These days, it is highly condemned because none of the people in Kali Yuga are Brahmanas. Kalo Shudra Sambhava. That means in Kali Yuga, everyone is a Shudra, right? The Varnashram system has gone for a toss. Okay, so there are no Brahmins, no Kshatriyas, no Vaishyas actually. Okay, everyone is a Shudra, and we are just not qualified to perform any such activities. So especially killing of any animals is very seriously condemned in this age of Kali Yuga. And that is the reason why we follow the four regulative principles of no meat eating, okay, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit sex outside marriage. Okay, so the first thing is no meat eating, right? That means no killing of animals or any life form. Okay, so this is what the purport says, and basically in this Sloka, Lord Krishna is asking Arjun that he should not hesitate, he should not give up all the hesitation and simply fight, because that is the best dharma of a Kshatriya. That is what a Kshatriya should be doing. We'll move to the next one. Yes. Who can read next? Ivana Mataji, will you try to follow? Or will you try on your own, or shall I read it?
I'll try.
Yes, Mataji. That's nice.
Okay. Yadarchaya. Okay, I cannot. I'll just follow.
Okay. Yadrichaya chopapannam.
Can you come again?
Yadrichaya
Yadrichaya
chopapannam.
Kopapannam
Svargadvaram apavritam.
Sarvadwaram Apavritam
Sukhinah kshatriya partha.
Sukhinah Kshatriya Partha
Labhante yuddhamidrisham.
Labhante Yudham Idrisham.
Yeah, please go ahead with the translation.
Translation. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
So this is exactly what we discussed in the last shloka. Now Krishna is also saying, yes, I think Prabhupada is quoting from Parashar Smriti. That is one of another law books of the Vedas, basically, and we will just read the translation. Mataji, you can read this part.
Okay.
Or you can read both the paragraphs. It's a small book.
The Kshatriya's duty is to protect the citizens from all kinds of difficulties, and for that reason, he has to apply violence in suitable cases for law and order. Therefore, he has to conquer the soldiers of inimical kings, and thus, with religious principles, he should rule over the world. Considering all aspects, Arjuna had no reason to refrain from fighting. If he should conquer his enemies, he would enjoy the kingdom. And if he should die in the battle, he would be elevated to heavenly planets, whose doors are wide open to him. Fighting would be for his benefit in either case. Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Mataji. So yes, so Krishna again, like he's saying that why this fighting opportunity should not be given up, by Arjun, because these opportunities which come unsought, that is actually opening the doors of heavenly planets. And what Krishna is saying, Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport is that if Arjuna fights and wins the battle, then there is the entire kingdom for him to enjoy. And if he is killed in the battlefield, the doors of heavenly planets are wide open for him. So in either cases, Arjuna will be benefited. Okay? Now we will see in the next verses that what will happen if Arjuna decides otherwise. If he doesn't fight, then what will happen? Okay. Okay, so who can go next? I think Vasavi Mataji is here after a long time. Hare Krishna Mataji. See you.
Hare Krishna ji. So I was a little busy. Shravan Mas, pujas at home. Sorry, Prabhuji, could not inform you.
No worries, Mataji. Yeah, please, you can come at your convenience. That's fine, totally fine. Yeah. So Shweta Mataji, would you like to recite and read the translation? We'll see how much we'll read the purport.
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Sloka number 2.33. अथ चेत्त्वमिमं धर्मं सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि. Translation. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter.
Yeah, please read the entire purport, Mataji.
Purport. Arjuna was a famous fighter and he attained fame by fighting many great demigods, including even Lord Shiva. After fighting and defeating Lord Shiva in the dress of a hunter, Arjuna pleased the Lord and received as a reward a weapon called Pashupatastra. Everyone knew that he was a great warrior. Even Dronacharya gave him benedictions and awarded him the special weapon by which he could kill even his teacher. So he was credited with so many military certificates from many authorities, including his adoptive father Indra, he the heavenly king. But if he abandoned the battle, not only would he neglect his specific duty as a Kshatriya, but he would lose all his fame and good name and thus prepare his royal road to hell. In other words, he would go to hell not by fighting but by withdrawing from battle. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, this is the law of karma. Okay, and this is what should be understood, in depth, actually, right? What to do, and more specifically, what not to do. Okay, so a very nice example, my Siksha Guru always used to cite is that, for example, if I give you a situation that, okay, you have a gun in your hand, or maybe a person has a gun in the hand, and he shoots at another person. Will you call it a good action or a bad action? Anyone, please go ahead.
It depends on the situation.
Depends on the situation. Yeah, can you please elaborate a little bit, Mataji?
Like, say the person was a criminal and the one shooting was a police, it was good. But
Yes,
say it was just anyone shooting at anyone, so it was a murder.
murder. Exactly. Similarly, like if someone has a knife in hand, and if that person is putting that knife through the body of another person, so that also depends upon the situation, right? If it's a criminal doing that activity, then yes, that person has to be punished. If it's a doctor performing an operation on a patient, then that is for the ultimate good of the patient, right? So everything has to be judged according to what your prescribed duties are. Okay, and similarly, what we see here, what Krishna is saying, that the ultimate duty of a Kshatriya is to fight. So just by giving up fighting, he would, prepare a grand roadway to hell, basically. Why? Because he has neglected the duties, the prescribed duties. Okay, so this is what is meant here. And also, he's saying that he will also lose the reputation as a fighter, right? Like it's a um, these days, I think it's not considered, that big a deal, right? But if someone in those yugas, if they fled from the battlefield, okay, then it was an act of a great infamy for that person. Okay, like they were just what to say, completely disregarded, as a kshatriya or as a fighter. Okay, so it was considered very bad that they would rather take the arrows or all the astra shastras which were there uh, on the chest rather than showing the back to the opponent. Okay, so this is what Krishna is saying, that it will not only incur sinful reactions because you are neglecting your duty. If you are not fighting, it will also spoil your reputation as a good fighter. And we have seen that Prabhupada is citing that how great fighter Arjun was. He had equaled Lord Shiva in a battle. Or rather, he's mentioning here that he defeated him, and Lord Shiva was so pleased with him that he had awarded Pashupatastra. Right, that is one celestial weapon which can bring an end to the entire creation in no time. Okay, entire material creation can be destroyed in just one instant if someone uses Pashupatastra. It is the most powerful celestial weapon, okay, till date, which we know of according to our shastras. Okay, even powerful than Brahmastra, right? So Arjun was the possessor of a Pashupatastra, right? So when such a great warrior, like if he shows the back to the enemies on the battlefield, it will be an act of great infamy. That is what Krishna is saying, and will also incur sinful reactions. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Hmm?
My question is that since it's so bad to leave the battlefield and run away,
Mhm.
even Lord Krishna did leave the battlefield once, right? There was
Yeah.
one story. Then why did he do that?
Correct. Because Krishna is, we need to understand a couple of things, Mataji. First of all, the situation. Just like I asked the question, and you said that it depends upon the situation, right? So that situation was such that Jarasandh, this guy Jarasandh, was continuously attacking Krishna and Balram. Okay, and they defeated him 17 times. Okay, and they were literally, Krishna and Balram were literally toying around with Jarasandh. He was a very powerful king, and I mean, if you know the story, like he was born in two pieces, and then there was a demoness who actually joined the two pieces of his body together, and the only way in which he could be killed was by, if his body was ripped apart again into two pieces, and one piece and either pieces were thrown in the opposite directions. That was the only way. Otherwise, if even if he was ripped apart, the pieces would come together and join it. So he was a very powerful king, and he had defeated very big wrestlers. Okay, and like some big wrestlers were in his what to say, army, and he was a very strong himself. And 17 times he attacked Krishna and Balram, and every time, with such a powerful king, Krishna and Balram were simply toying around with him. कि ठीक है यार, जाने दो, आता है, मार खा के जाता है हर बार, like that. But that time, what happened when he attacked 18th time? That time, Rukmini was actually waiting for Sri Krishna, right? And just to answer Rukmini's call, Krishna had left the battlefield because he thought that, okay, according to the current circumstances, this is not more important, fighting with Jarasandha and defeating him yet again, right? Rukmini, held a higher position for Krishna at that moment, and he left. So that was one of the reasons. And second reason is that Krishna is a supremely independent personality, Mataji. Like, he is not an ordinary human being. Okay, so all these you will see in the Bhagavad Gita. Once we go ahead, that every living entity must perform some karma or the other. Okay, it's impossible for a living entity, to exist without performing any karma. Okay. However, I am completely independent of any karma. I have no obligations to perform any karma at all. Okay. So we must understand that we are dealing with a supremely independent personality here. If he wants, he will fight. If he doesn't want, fine, he will just stop it. Right? So we
But
cannot do
then
that.
why did he not kill Jarasandha the first 17
Because
times?
Jarasan was destined to be killed by Bhim. Yeah, he did not want to interfere, in that
Yeah,
that program basically. Right? Everything is for Krishna, like everything is a drama going on here, right? So
Hmm.
every character has been given assigned a role, and so you have to play according to that character, right? So Jarasan was destined to be killed by Bhim in a wrestling match, so that had to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll move to the next shloka. Nice question, Mataji, but yeah, very nice question. I think a lot of people, make fun of Krishna, that he's called Ranchod and all those things, but they do not know the entire story. Like if you read about Rukmini Devi's and Krishna's pastimes, then we will come to know this whole, what to say, pastime will come into play, right? That is one important thing. Okay, Sindhu Mataji, would you like to recite the shloka or read out? Okay, Sindhu Mataji is silent. So, Vasavi Mataji, would you like to read the shloka?
Prabhuji, I need some help from you.
Yeah,
If you
no worries,
repeat,
no
I
worries.
will.
Just follow me. Yeah, just follow me. Akirtim chapi bhutani
Akirti, Akirti Cham Bhutani,
kathayishyanti te vyayam
Kashayanti Yati Tithinam,
sambhavitasya chakirtir
Sambhavitasya Chakirtim
maranadatirichyate.
Maranadatya Artiche.
Please read the translation.
People will always speak of pure infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. Perfect also, Prabhuji?
Yeah, purport, please. The entire purport.
Both as friend and philosopher to Arjuna, Lord Krishna now gives his final judgment regarding Arjuna's refusal to fight. The Lord says, Arjuna, if you leave the battlefield before the battle even begins, people will call you a coward. And if you think that people may call you bad names, but that you will save your life by leaving the battlefield, then my advice is that you do better to die in the battle. For a respectable man like you, ill fame is worse than death. So you should not flee for fear of your life. Better to die in the battle. That will save you from the ill fame of misusing my friendship and from losing your prestige in society. So the final judgment of the Lord was for Arjuna to die in the battle and not withdraw.
Oh, yes. So this is another, reason Krishna is citing, that people will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, infamy is worse than death. So he's saying that you rather die on the battlefield than to withdraw and not fight, because it will bring you infamy, and it will also, Arjuna will be misusing the friendship. Okay, because friendship of Krishna, basically. Why? Because Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead, and just look at his mercy or the kind heartedness towards the devotees, that he decided to become the charioteer of Arjuna, right? And although he said that he will not pick up any weapon in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but still, like, having the supreme personality of Godhead by your side as your charioteer, who is offering advice at every step, I think that is a big benediction for any person. Okay. And Arjun was one such lucky person, to have Krishna by his side. So even after having Supreme Personality of Godhead at his side, if Arjun refuses to fight or doesn't carry out his prescribed duties, then I think that will be a great misfortune for both Arjun as well as he will be misusing the friendship. Like he will not be able to make the full use of the friendship of uh, Krishna, right? You can a very crude example is coming in my mind. You can just understand it in this way: that suppose if someone gifts maybe a MacBook to a person who is completely uh, unknown, or maybe a completely non-tech savvy person who doesn't even understand what a laptop is. He looks at the laptop and says, "Oh, such a nice, piece of a beautiful piece of what to say, an object is this. I will just try to keep my coffee mug every time on the table on this thing." How does that sound? Doesn't it sound very stupid? Because that person is not aware what a MacBook can do. Okay, like he can do literally anything with in this age of technology and internet, right? It's a very very powerful tool, basically, MacBook. Correct? But just because of the ignorance of that person, like that person is trying to use it as a coffee table or something, just by looking at the finishing and uh, uh, the shape of the MacBook. Okay, so similar is the case that just because of ignorance, if Arjuna doesn't fight, that means he doesn't realize the who actually Krishna is. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He can, if he is by your side, then he has literally nothing to fear about, right? So this is what Krishna is trying to indicate here. Okay, that it will bring you infamy, and for a respectable person, infamy or dishonor is worse than death. And Prabhupada is saying in his purport that uh, Arjun will be misusing the friendship of Krishna. Okay, he will not be able to use the friendship of Krishna to the full potential because of this ignorance. So this is what this particular shloka means. Okay, we'll move to the next one. So we'll have to come back again. Okay, I'll read this one and then we can move again in the same order. भयाद्राणदुपरतं मन्स्यन्ते त्वां महारथः येषां च त्वं बहुमतो भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्. Which means the great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus will consider you as insignificant. So, in all these shlokas, like first Krishna cited that what is the benefit of fighting and performing the Kshatriya dharma, that a Kshatriya who gets an opportunity to fight in the battlefield, and in doing so, if he loses the life, then that is also a great fortune for him, because the door of the heavens will always remain open for such a person. Okay, and then in the subsequent shlokas, Krishna is actually citing the ill effects if Arjun chooses otherwise. If he decides not to fight, then what will happen? So here is another reason what Krishna is saying: the great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear, and thus they will consider you insignificant. So it's again like he's more elaborating more on the infamy that which will come upon Arjun if he just flees from the battlefield. Lord Krishna continued to give his verdict to Arjuna: do not think that the generals like Duryodhan, Karna, and other contemporaries will think that you have left the battlefield out of compassion for your brothers and grandfather. Yes, this is a very important point. The opponents will never think, look at your kind-heartedness or your compassion towards them. Okay, they will only think that you are a coward, and that's the reason why you have fled the battlefield. Okay, they will think that you have left out of fear of your life, and thus their high estimation of your personality will go to hell. Exactly, because Arjun was not only considered, regarded as the greatest archer among the Pandavas or among the supporter parties of Pandavas, but he was highly respected and regarded as the greatest archer among his enemies as well. Okay, and two people whom Duryodhan actually feared, who can actually cause problems to his army, was Arjun and Bhim. Okay, these were the only two people whom Duryodhan was, little skeptical about. Otherwise, he was very confident that if these two people are not there, he was strong enough to, defeat the Pandavas all by himself. Okay, so which means that even Karna, Duryodhan, and all the stalwarts like that, who were actually opponents of Krishna in this battlefield of Kurukshetra, they were also, they also had very high regards of Arjun, as far as his military prowess was concerned. Okay, his military skills, his skills as an archer were concerned. So Krishna is saying that everything will go for a toss if you don't do that, because they will simply not consider that you are being compassionate towards them, and that is the reason you are not fighting. They will only think that you have left the battlefield out of fear, and they will consider you as a coward. Move to the next one. Okay, Aishwarya Mataji, would you read? There or left? Okay, no worries. Let's go to Ivana Mataji.
Yes, probably. Shall I read?
Yeah, and just try to follow me.
Can I try my own? This one is fine.
Yeah. Avachivadanscha
Avachivadamscha
bahun vidishyanti
bahun vidishyanti
avahitaha
tavahita
nindantastva
nindastastva
samarthya
samarthya
tato dukkataram nukim.
tata dukkham taram nukim.
Translation
Translations.
and purpose.
Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? Lord Krishna was astonished in the beginning at Arjuna's uncalled for plea for compassion, and he described his compassion as befitting the non-Aryans. Now, in so many words, he has proved his statements against Arjuna's so-called compassion.
Yes. Again, like he is continuing, Krishna is continuing to, tell or describe all the ill effects of him not fighting the battle. Okay. So he's saying that in the previous verse, he said that your opponents or your enemies will not consider this act as an act of kindness or compassion towards them. Rather, they would think that you are running away from the battlefield because of the fear of your life. And in this way, in this verse, he is saying that they will describe you with all unkind words, and it will be more painful for you. Okay, and we'll see in the next verse what Krishna is saying, ultimately what Arjun will do, even if he doesn't choose to fight. Maybe next verse or in the upcoming verses. So, yes, Vasavi Mataji, would you like to read? Okay, am I clearly audible to all of you?
Prabhuji, I need your help for this.
Yeah, I'll help you, Mataji. Don't worry. Yeah. But your voice is very feeble, Mataji. Can you bring the microphone a little closer to you?
Now, Prabhuji, hello.
Yeah, much better, much better. Yeah.
Hato
va prapsyasi swarga
sarvadam
jitva va bhokshase mahim tasmaduttishta kaunteya
Tadmat Ushtistha Kaunteya
yuddhaya krita nishchayah. Both translation and purport.
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attend the heavenly planet, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Purport. Even though there was no certainty of victory for Arjuna's side, he still had to fight, for even being killed there, he could be elevated into the heavenly planets.
And yes. So again, like we have seen in the previous verse also that Prabhupada mentioned the same thing in the purport. Now Krishna is actually clearly saying this to Arjun, that even if you fight in this battle, then you have nothing to lose. You can only gain, because even if you lose and you die on this battlefield, you will be reaching the heavenly planets. Okay, the doors of the heavenly planets will be always open for you. Okay, because you will be fighting on the side of religiousness, and you will be performing the Kshatriya dharma. So there will be no downfall for you. And if you win, the entire kingdom will be yours to rule over, right? So there is no loss for Arjun in either of the cases. So this is what Krishna is saying, and he's trying to encourage Arjun that get up, Uttishta, and fight. Okay. So I'll read this one. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva nevam papam vapsisi. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by doing so, you will never incur sin. So this is what Krishna is giving his first indication towards what what to say actual akarma means. Okay, we'll see that karma or action can be divided into three categories. And one such category is called akarma, which does not incur any sinful reactions. Okay, so how to do that? He's saying that without considering any happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, simply fight for the sake of fighting, because that is your duty. Just perform your duty. Okay. So everyone, like even people who have not read the Bhagavad Gita, they are very familiar with, one shloka, or one shloka, not basically one purport of Bhagavad Gita, which says "Karm karo, phal ki chinta mat karo." Right. So this is what Krishna is actually. We'll come to that shloka later on, but here he is just giving one indication of that. Okay, just fight for the sake of fighting without considering the consequences. Okay. So Lord Krishna now directly says to Arjun, says that Arjun should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. Okay, Krishna wants him to fight. He is desiring that battle to happen. Okay, so there is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or loss, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, no, like we simply do not consider any, what to say, consequence of the activities or the actions that we are performing in Krishna consciousness. Okay, why? Because we are simply carrying out the will of Krishna. We are simply doing it to please Krishna. Okay, that is the main motto of Krishna consciousness. Okay, that simply do what Krishna desires. So that everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So there is no reaction to material activities. So these activities, they might look very material, like fighting on the battlefield is simply like anyone would say that, okay, you are killing someone. So it's a jiva hatya, so it will actually, incur sinful reactions. Okay. Similarly, if someone is actually, going and trying to build a nice temple for Krishna, okay, so like to procure all the raw materials, the cement, bricks, and all those things. So one has to go to the vendors and they have to bargain for that. Okay, so that may also incur some karma. Okay, good or bad, right? But so apparently it appears that way. Okay, but because fighting here in case of Arjun, he's basically doing it for Krishna's desire. Or if someone say, as I mentioned, give an example that a devotee might be, like trying to build a temple for Krishna, and then he's carrying out all the activities in Krishna consciousness. And such activities, they do not incur any sinful reactions because they are transcendental to the three modes of material nature. Okay, they are above these three modes of material nature. Okay, so they simply do not incur any what to say, sinful reactions. We'll see. Karma in depth is one of my favorite topics. If I find some time, I will just take one special session on that. So that will give you a lot of clarity, okay, on what is karma, what is akarma, and what is vikarma. Okay, and things will be more clear, but we'll just go with the purport as of now. Okay. He who acts for his own sense gratification, neither in goodness nor in passion, is subject to the reaction. Sorry. My bad. He who acts for his own gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. But he who has completely surrendered himself to the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor he is a debtor to anyone, as one is in ordinary course of activities. Okay. So that means he has simply is transcendental to everything. Okay, like generally when we work for our own sense gratification, we are in the mode of passion. Okay, mostly. In certain cases, we do something in the mode of goodness as well, but that also incurs reaction. Okay, good reactions. So even to enjoy the results of those good reactions, we will have to come back here in this material world to enjoy it. Okay. But since we are on the path of Krishna consciousness, our ultimate goal is to break this cycle of life and death and rebirth, and we have to go back home, back to Krishna. So we have to find some way or the other that, okay, we'll be performing some duties, but at the same time, we'll not incurring any good or bad reactions because of those duties. And how to do that, we'll be seeing, in the next chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. So, Prabhupada is quoting one shloka here, and the meaning of that shloka is, it's from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, 41st shloka. Anyone who has completely surrendered unto Krishna, Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone. Not the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor the kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. So generally, it is said in the Shastras that as soon as we come into existence, okay, we are immediately indebted to 3 to 6 people. Okay, first is the demigods, because they give us so many things, right? The Surya Dev gives us the sunlight, the Vayu Dev gives us the wind to breathe, okay, Varun Dev gives us the water, Indra gives us the rain. So we are indebted to all the demigods and goddesses. Okay, they are actually doing so much for us, right? But how many times we even care to thank them? How many times we have thanked the Pavan Dev for giving you air to breathe? We simply forget that, right? But that debt is there on us. Okay. Second is the sages. Okay, all the big rishi munis who have made this place worth living. Actually, okay, so we are indebted to them. Okay, and then third is people in general, all the people around us, jiva bhutas, right? Like we do so many transactions with people around us. So without their presence, it would be simply impossible for us to survive. Okay, so in that way, we are indebted to them also. Then our kinsmen, our family members, okay, they do so much for us. Okay, right from our childhood till the end of our lives, they just, if there are some people whom we can count on, it's our family members, right? So we are indebted to them. And this entire humanity and our forefathers, right? So these are the 6 people whom every Jivatma is indebted to. And what Prabhupada is saying here, he is citing a shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam where it is clearly mentioned that one who has taken to Krishna consciousness, like that person is not obliged or not indebted to anyone. Okay, like it's just like these are individual departments where you have to pay some taxes, and the taxes are so high that it will take lifetimes after lifetimes for us to repay them. Okay, even then we will not be able to repay them. But simply by offering our obeisances to Krishna, simply by surrendering on the lotus feet of Krishna, all our taxes are exempted and we are no longer a debtor to anyone. Okay. So this is what this particular shloka of Bhagavatam means. Okay, so this is the last one which we'll cover today. Let me read it and then we will see. It's a very big purport. I think we will just try to read some specific portions of this purport. Esha te bhita sankhye buddhiryoge Simam Shrinu Buddhaya Yukto Yaya Partha Karma Bandham Prahasyasi. Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain in terms of working without fructive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such a knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. So Arjuna has already accepted Krishna as his spiritual master by surrendering himself unto him. And we remember in the 7th verse of the 2nd chapter, he says, Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. Okay, that you are my spiritual master, I am a soul surrendered unto you. Now you tell me what I should do. Okay, this is what Arjun had said. And then Krishna took up the role of spiritual master of Arjun, and then he delivered the Bhagavad Gita. Till that time, he was simply joking around like a friend with Arjun. Okay. So consequently, Krishna will now tell him about working process in Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga, or in other words, the practice of devotional service only for sense gratification of the Lord. Okay, Buddhi Yoga is clearly explained in chapter 10, verse 10, as being direct communication with the Lord who is sitting as Paramatma in everyone's heart. But such communication does not take place without devotional service. Okay, one who is therefore situated in devotional or transcendental loving service to the Lord, no, or in other words, in Krishna consciousness, attains to this stage of Buddhi Yoga by the special mercy of the Lord. Okay, so it's not possible just by reading the Shastras, we cannot say that we are in Buddhi Yoga, or just by performing, some absurd material, actions, we cannot say that we are Karma Yogis. Okay, devotion is an integral aspect of both Buddhi Yoga and Karma Yoga, or any yoga practice for that matter. Okay, it is clearly said that if one is if one has read all the Vedas, all the Puranas, all the Upanishads, and still if that person is not a devotee of Krishna, if he has not come to the point of Krishna consciousness, then all that effort is simply a wastage of time of reading the Shastras. Okay, so Buddhi Yoga just cannot come by itself. You have to be a devotee of Krishna. Then by the mercy of Krishna, you will get that knowledge. Okay, then one can say that, okay, this person is a Buddhi Yogi, right? So the Lord says, therefore, that only those who are always engaged in devotional service out of transcendental love does he award the pure knowledge and devotion in love. In that way, devotee can reach him easily in the ever blissful kingdom of God. So it's a very nice purport. Like I would encourage all of you to read completely, okay, line by line. And then the contents of the Bhagavad Gita will be more clear to all of you. Just because we have a shortage of time right now, we simply cannot read the entire purport. But yes, this brings us to the last sloka of the day today. I think we covered around 8 slokas or 9 slokas today, 31 to 39. Yeah, 31 to 39, 9 slokas. That was a pretty good effort from our side. We'll see. We'll continue to follow this process only, and this will speed up the things actually, and we'll be finishing it earlier, right? So, any questions or any realizations that anyone wants to share? It's most welcome, and this is the time. Anyone, anything that you would like to share?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, so today we have had a question from Ivana Mataji, right? So about like why Krishna has, he didn't kill Jarasandha, like he was
Correct.
left for someone, right? Like Bhima then took up and he killed. Yeah, I want to just add one point to that, the same. Recently, I have read a story about Sahadev, like one of the 5 Pandavas. So, yeah, so in the Vyas Mahabharata, it was mentioned like when he was like growing up, so when everyone was practicing their skills, they did that tapasya, and they are getting into that martial skills, and also the fighting skills. Dronacharya was advising everything, right? So during that tenure,
Mhm.
so he also did tapasya, and he was able to predict the future. So he got that astrological skills also. The only Pandava who developed the astrological skill.
Mhm. Yes, Mataji, you are on mute somehow.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So he got that ability. So
Mhm.
he was very happy. So he developed that. He become proficient in that. So he
Mhm.
want to share that with the Pandavas, other four Pandavas. So when he was returning from the tapasya, and so he was returning to his family to share that. So at that time, Krishna appears there. So already he know that Krishna is none other than like Supreme Personality. So he offered his obeisances. Then he was very happy to share that. So
No.
Krishna said only one word. So you are not supposed to break the law of karma. So
Mhm.
I know that you gained this skill. You are capable of predicting what is going to happen in future. So you are good in that, but you are not supposed to break the law of karma. So you need to answer as a question if someone questions you. Otherwise, you are not supposed to reveal anything.
Mhm.
So Sahadeva agreed that, and he in return he asked Krishna for one mercy. So that mercy is he should be the protector of all the Pandavas. He should never ever leave them. So he exchanged the words, and Krishna already knows, right? So he will stand. He will take the stand of dharma. So whoever upholds the dharma, he will be standing with them. So he know that Pandavas will be towards the, I mean, always stand towards dharma, and because of that, he happily agrees for Sahadeva's request. So
Mhm.
that is untold story of Sahadeva. Though he
Mhm.
know what is going to happen, even about the actions like the dice game and Laksha wax house, and even
Mhm.
how they are going to misbehave with Draupadi.
Mhm.
Everything he knows, but he never opens. Only one place he was supposed to answer. I mean, supposed to answer is during the Ajnatavasa in Virata's kingdom. So
Mhm.
he used to predict when it is going to rain and when the crops, which crops will work if we cultivate now. So only at that place with Krishna's instruction. So he used to help the farmers in that kingdom. So
Okay.
he is the, I mean, all the Pandavas on Krishna's mercy, everyone followed that dharma, right? So they never break the law, actually. Like karma should be done, and law of karma, like we are not supposed to interfere, and we should not
Mhm.
do, even if we know we are not supposed to do that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, very nice. Very nicely explained, Mataji. I think this is a very nice pastime that you explain, and most overlooked pastime of Mahabharata. Very few people know about this, and it's good that you have brought this. And I think that will, you know, provide even a stronger answer to Mataji's question, that why didn't Krishna himself kill Jarasandh or when he fought him for the 17 times, right? So yes, actually, yeah, everything is basically, like planned by Krishna. And just remember one thing, that we all are small characters, okay, that we are just playing a role, and we have to do that in order to satisfy Krishna in such a way that Krishna is fully satisfied. For example, if I have been given a role of a grihastha, I should do that in such a way that Krishna is satisfied, with that role. I should not try to pretend to be a brahmachari or a sannyasi. Okay, don't we should not try to do that. So similarly, other peoples have been assigned that role, and this particular role of killing Jarasandh was given to Bhim, and that is the reason why Krishna didn't kill him himself. Otherwise, it would have been just a child's play. If he can kill Kansa, right? That in hand-to-hand combat. Kansa was like, sometimes it's important to glorify the villain, in order to understand how powerful the hero is. Correct. So Kansa was like, he had won the entire kingdom. Okay, all the three kingdoms. Like, people were really scared of him. Okay, and wherever he used to go, he used to defeat the king of another kingdom, and then he would just, make a, like, what to say, a pact with him that whatever I order you to do, you will have to carry out those orders. Okay. So when Krishna was entering into that arena, wrestling arena of Kansa, and Chanur and Mushrik, there were these two, huge wrestlers in that arena, basically, right? So they were none other than, very glorious kings of different kingdoms, basically, right? And they had mastered this wrestling skill like, no other people at that time on the entire planet. Okay. So, and when they came in front of Krishna and Balram, they defeated him just like anything. Like, and mind you, Krishna and Balram were only like, they appeared to be only 16 or 17-year-old kids in front of, mountain-like wrestlers, right? And not only that, like, he defeated them. Krishna also, just picked up and threw an elephant who was supposed to kill Krishna and Balram. That elephant was actually made to drink some wine or some, like intoxicating element, some intoxicating liquid. Okay. And so that, the elephant becomes like loses control, and then he just goes and kills Krishna and Balram. Krishna just held that elephant by its tail and threw him. I don't know where that elephant fell, and then he went ahead and killed Kansa, right, in the same very wrestling arena where he killed Chanur and Mushrik, right? So what is impossible for Krishna? He could have just killed Jarasandha like anything, right? But he did not do that only because just to keep this law of karma intact, because he was destined to be killed by Bhim, so he didn't go ahead and do that. Okay, and yeah, as I also mentioned, that he is the supreme personality, supremely independent personality. उनको खेलना है जब तब खेलेंगे, नहीं खेलना है नहीं खेलेंगे. We cannot force him to do anything, right? At that time, Krishna thought that okay, Rukmini is at a higher priority, so I should pay attention to her rather than wasting my time fighting with this guy whom I have already defeated 17 times. So why to waste my energy again, right? He was not interested in fighting at that time. That is the reason he left. Okay, but anyways, yeah, very nicely explained, Mataji. A nice pastime of Shahdev. So yeah, I hope all of you must have enjoyed this session. We will keep on going in this similar way. Okay, reading and then reading the purport. Not too much of explanations. If there are any questions, I'll try to answer. And in this way, we'll speed up a bit. We'll try to finish the Bhagavad Gita as soon as possible. Okay. And then after that, we'll see. But yes, important point is that please, 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 it's my humble request to all of you who are very active on social media, try to spread the word. I will circulate some posters, okay, about this particular session. Try to bring in as many people as possible. Okay, let's take a vow that okay, I will bring at least one person to this session, if not more than one. Okay, so in this way we'll be growing as a family, and we'll continue our these beautiful sessions, reading the Bhagavad Gita and other books of Srila Prabhupada in the association of devotees. Okay, that is the best thing that we can do in this age of Kali Yuga. Okay, so on that note, I would like to end the session now. Thank you so much for your attendance, and just one question to Ivana Mataji. Have you received attendance of any past weeks? 2 or 3 weeks? If not, then I can share all the attendance list with you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Mataji is not there, I think.
Okay, she is left already. Okay, no problems. I'll get in touch with her. Not a problem. Okay, so with that note, we'll come to an end. We come to an end of this session. Please try to join next week as well. We are seeing good number of participants already. I hope it remains this way, and just try to bring in at least one person, okay, to this session. I'll design a few posters. I'll send it across, and please circulate it on WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, whichever social media you are active on. Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna,
Guruji. Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.